Up next, how to beat a new car dealer at any time, really. But hey, the end of the financial year is nigh. So, for your eyes only, this is Operation Dealer Bloodbath. Yes! We're going in. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, the place where Australian new car buyers save thousands off their next new cars. Hit me up on the website for that. Just for context, okay, I have built a seven-figure business, amazingly enough, off the back of beating car dealers. So there's that. And I thought the idea had commercial potential almost 10 years ago when I went on Channel 9's A Current Affair and upended several dealers in Queensland wearing a hidden camera, which is a unique proposition in Australia because they have different Surveillance Devices Act type provisions and the audio's okay in Queensland. Anyway, it was a big rush doing that. And this was like fleecing salesmen in front of 2 million people, therapeutically enough. It was awesome. And that night, I got 2 death threats, which for a reporter like me is just the glacé cherry on the icing of the cake. Death threats, right? The most sincere endorsement of one's work. So the story ultimately rated its tits off and we did it all again back up in Queensland, only different, as you do, just a few weeks later. And off the back of all this, okay, it struck me that people did not know this stuff. I just presumed that everyone did. Anyway, so getting a new car, awesome. Buying a new car kind of sucks. The actual transaction, right? It's like sucking a golf ball through 100 metres of friggin' garden hose because you know that you're copping it at both ends, right? And the dealer knows that he's spit roasting you, the full bilateral treatment, and it seems like there's nothing you can do about it. But it emphatically does not have to be this way. And after I got all those positive comments yesterday off the back of yesterday's report about real cars and getting a discount at the end of financial year, I thought to myself, it is high time we did a refresher. When I think about ordinary people going into a dealership, it reminds me of livestock at an abattoir. I don't know if you've had the pleasure. It's a pretty confronting experience, I'd have to say, but it is a process. There are incremental steps, and after a while, I guess, you stop feeling anything and you end up gutted, dissected, and wrapped, which is kind of part of the deal. You know, car dealers are essentially ambush predators, right? And ambushes only work if the target goes and stands on the X. And if you do that and the ambush is well constructed, and trust me, at a dealership it's quite robust, you end up cut to pieces. This is just a metaphor, okay? The process is polite sometimes, even outwardly friendly, convivial, whatever. But all kinds of emotional and psychological pressure is deployed against you. It's all there to maneuver you onto the X. Conveniently enough, that's where the killing actually takes place. So my strong advice here is deploy countermeasures. And this report is about how to avoid the X. This is one of the most important things to visualize if you are ever going to darken a dealership's door, okay? Imagine a clock up on the wall, just up there somewhere above the showroom floor. So in a dealership, different rules apply. There is a special theory of dealership relativity that bends time because the time in a dealership is always bullshit o'clock. It just is. If you surrender any personal information, it can be used to bullshit you across the line, right? Here's just one small example. Let's just say you front up and you tell the dealer the last dealership tried to screw you over so royally over your trade-in and this annoyed you emphatically. A very smart sales guy, and they're all sort of rat-cunning smart, right? A smart sales guy is going to take that and he is going to pump up your trade price and try and gut you on the other aspects of the deal. But he'll get you across and closer to the big X by being seemingly very generous and accommodating with your all-important trade-in. It's just bullshit, right? He's not being generous or even nice. He's just appeasing you and manipulating you emotionally to get you closer to the X. Most people, okay, just for clarity, they don't know what bullshit really is. The earth is awash in bullshit. I mean, it's what we do, humanity. Bullshit and plastic, that's us. A footnote in the great universal ledger of whatever. Bullshit is not just lies, all right? That's what people who don't think very hard just presume. I mean, the liar is a much more respectable person when you think about it. The liar has to respect the truth, right, in order actively to misrepresent it. But the bullshitter, right, he's not bound by any such convention. The bullshitter is properly unplugged here. He is free to use any combination of truth or falsehood. The salient proposition of the bullshitter, right, which is clock on the wall, what's going on here, and why it's so hard to deploy effective countermeasures for ordinary people, is that what the bullshitter presents you with is a mashup of truth and lies, and it is designed to do just one thing, to get you closer to the X. Here's what you do. Just stand back for a minute and take a look, okay? The philosophy in a car dealership is like, great, thanks for coming, nice to meet you, thank you so much for stopping by. We are in charge, if you don't mind, and your job is to follow. This is like bullshit commandment number one at a dealership. We're in charge. And they need to do this specifically because strategically they are in the less powerful position. They just don't want you focusing on that during your time together. You've got the cash, you can decide how and where to spend it. There's no shortage of competing brands or competing dealers within the one brand. You can walk away at any time, and this is a very powerful position that you occupy and from which you negotiate. Sure as shit, the dealer does not want you to be aware of that during your intimate time together. So you get to be in charge, okay? But you have to let yourself be in charge. Do you want to be domesticated and walking up the ramp on a one-way journey that ends in the supermarket? Or do you want the dealership standing on your X? It's up to you, but you might have to do things a little bit differently this time. Just to be clear on this though, you don't have to be an asshole. In fact, it's better to park your emotions at the door in these places. It is a financial transaction. Make it about the money, okay? You're not there to make friends or enemies. You are there to buy something. It really is that simple. Make it about the money and whether they deserve your money. You don't have to like them. They don't have to like you. In fact, to them, you are just a target. So think about it like this. A kilo of rice, basmati or something, is the same at Coles, Woolworths or Aldi. It doesn't matter where you buy it. The price is the only salient factor. They're all equally reprehensible places, supermarkets, right? How is a car any different? Any particular car, like a Mazda 3 SP25 Estina, for example, or a Hyundai Santa Fe Highlander, for example, it's just a commodity. That car, right, the one you have decided you want, that suits you best, that car at dealer A is exactly the same as that car at dealer B. It just is. You can get it serviced at any dealer. Warranty can be dealt with at any dealer. The only reason to prefer dealer A over dealer B to buy the damn car is if they are prepared to give you a better deal. It really is that simple. Dealers do not add value to vehicles. They just sell you this commodity that you have decided you want. Buying a new car is like wrestling with a friggin' octopus. I mean, you might think of it in terms of being one single purchase transaction for you, a major exercise perhaps. But in reality, it's often 5 or 6 separate transactions conducted in this enthusiasm-sapping endurance event of being at the dealer. And the dealer is tooled up to gut you over each one of these transactions. Here's how he does it. Let's say there's 5 grand in it for him on the new car, okay? 50 grand car, that's 10%, which is actually quite reasonable in the context of retail generally. And let's be fair, he's got costs and businesses need to make a profit. That's just fair. 10% margin, you'd have to give it to him. But if he lowballs you on your trade-in as well and you go for it because you're unaware and you're a bit disappointed, but you say, well, if that's the best you can offer me, say he makes another 3 grand there, plus the $1,000 that he would make on a fair trade-in price, then there's another 4 grand in profit and he has almost doubled his margin. But it's not over yet. Then he stitches you up on the finance. There's 3 grand, thank you very much. And there's some export grade bullshit chat about the add-on insurance for that finance, which, let's be frank, you don't really understand. But hey, it sounds good in the moment and you're conservative, so you sign. And there's another 2 grand. And he's more than doubled his friggin' margin. He sells you then some alleged protection that you just really don't need. Paint protection, fabric protection, rust protection. Maybe there's $1 grand in that for him. Plus some minor dent repair insurance. And we'll throw in an extended warranty on top of that too. $1 grand more profit for him right there. You nod and you take the comprehensive insurance that he offers as well. There's $1 grand there for him. You get the same policy from Allianz or some other competitor in the insurance domain. Retail for $1 grand less, it would be exactly the same policy. They're selling it to the car maker wholesale, and he is selling it to you with, 1,000% markup, whatever. Plus, there is an armful of accessories. There always is. They always trot out the friggin' Ming mole for this, the former fluffer with the biggest set of genuine silicon bolt-on accessories that they can find. Here you are, hypnotised by the gravity-defying chuzies. And hey, maybe Isaac Newton was wrong and it's all just a theory after all. And you say, okay, to whatever she offers, because it sounds good and it looks even better. $1 grand. And the tinting, all right? It's the same tinting from the same guy in a van who would come to your house and do it $500 cheaper, retail, full retail, direct to you. But you go for that too because, hey, you're in the moment, because that's exactly what sheep do in an abattoir, I'd suggest. And then there's the dealer delivery charge, a bullshit charge of about $2 grand on mainstream cars and heaps more if you are retarded enough to cop $15,000 delivery on a Porsche or $7 grand on a Range Rover. I couldn't make this up. It's a hell of a lot to pay for screwing on the number plates, for filling the tank with fuel, detailing your car and making sure it starts, if you're lucky. Dealers will say that this includes shipping from overseas, so just take a quick look up there at the clock. Oh yes, it's 1/4 bullshit. $500, maybe that's reasonable. Anything more is extortion in a velvet glove, a latex velvet glove, and the lube is extra, of friggin' course. They don't even deliver the damn car. That's emphatic bullshit right there. You come in and collect it, and yet they charge you delivery. If a white goods retailer tried to get you to pay, $300 delivery, including shipping from overseas, on a replacement refrigerator, I'd suggest that you simply would not wear this, not in a heartbeat. So how is a car any different? Add it all up, okay? If you go back and add up all those numbers in the what's in it for the dealer, 20 grand worth of profit there on a 50 grand car if you just keep ticking the boxes and saying yes. There is no commercial universe where that is a fair deal for you or a reasonable margin for him. The dealership is a glorified vending machine. You have to realise this. It's not some sort of special place. It's just like a vending machine. They do not add any value to the car you buy. And you are paying all of this if you just walk up the ramp and into the giant processing plant and you stand on the X like a good friggin' sheep. Do not go to a dealership to transact if you are undecided on the vehicle. I mean, obviously you need to go there to see the cars in the flesh. That's part of the decision-making process. But make a deal with yourself, okay? Separate the research phase from the buying phase of this process. When you are doing research, you are specifically, absolutely not there to buy. Absolutely not. No matter how smooth and buttery the sales guy's bullshit is that day. This is absolutely the last one at this price. After this, prices will rise. There's a 5-month wait coming up. Your cock will drop off if you don't buy now. It's all bullshit, okay? Especially that last bit. Look, if you decide in the moment that's the best way that you could possibly make a bad call on that. You go there doing the research and then you decide to buy. That is an epic fail, just looking for a place to happen. They're going to try to stitch you up on the spot whenever you darken the door, okay? That's a given. Just say no until you've slept on it, checked out the competition, and you are absolutely sure that this is exactly what you want. Never sign a contract or pay a deposit until you are in the buying phase of this process. Never switch from research mode to buying mode while you are at the dealership. Buy a car that's in stock now, always. Just ask. When a car dealer takes delivery of a car, right, he owns it. He has paid for that car on credit, and selling it is his problem. The car company has already made its sale to the dealer, right? He is far more highly motivated, therefore, to sell you any car that is in stock now. So ask if it's in stock, and if it is, great. End of the month is a great time too. There's a bonus tip for you. There's a lot of pressure to meet those sales quotas towards the end of the month, particularly if the sales quota is so near and yet so far. Know how much your trade-in is worth. Don't let the dealer bend you over on the trade-in, right? You're already going to take a hit on the trade because trade-ins are about convenience and price always is a casualty. But there is a fair value for every trade-in, and you can use a site like redbook.com.au in Australia to ballpark that price. And if they give you any flack on this at all, any justification for why the price is substantially lower, just take a look. It's still bullshit o'clock. Always price up the insurance, the comprehensive insurance, the insurance you need for a crash, okay? Don't just go with the flow at the dealership because they'll be happy to sell you their insurance, but get your insurer to quote you up on comprehensive cover so that you know what this is really worth before you even set foot in the place to buy that car. Decide on the accessories you want or need before meeting the former fluffer, okay? They're mesmerizing, they really are. And it's okay to look, but know what accessories you want, if any, off the bat, before going in. Otherwise, you'll be hypnotized and agreeing that the genuine saxophone holder is just what you've always wanted. And hey, you deserve this. Say no to every possible add-on, right? The paint protection, the fabric protection, the rust protection, it's all bullshit. Add-on insurance is emphatically bullshit, right? Tinting, potentially a good idea there, but it's available far cheaper independently. Never get emotionally invested. You don't want that particular car in front of you right now. You want a car like that, and it's available from any dealer. Be prepared to drop this negotiation and walk away at a nanosecond's notice. Right? He has to want to sell this car more than you want to buy it. That is an essential component of this whole process. Never reveal unnecessary information that can be used to manipulate you. They are such ace manipulators. They're match fit because they do it every day. And do not allow the sales guy to play husband against wife or buyer one against buyer two if you're not there alone. You know, you go there, a bloke and your chick or a dad and the kid, whatever combination of whoever is going in there to buy the car, one of you might end up gagging for that car and the other one, perhaps they want to sleep on it. This is a classic showroom conflict. They've seen it all before, and a great opportunity for any ace manipulator. So do not let the sales guy shame the Conservative Party across the line. And you, I want to take a moment and speak directly to you, the gagging for it arsehole. You're not playing by the rules. You set the rules before you walked into the joint and suddenly you've jumped ship. You friggin' traitor. It is flat out undignified for you to go and sit on the other side of the desk and jump onto the dealership's team. Don't do that. Stay on the same team and have a plan going in that involves you both metaphorically and physically remaining on this side of the desk. That sounds reasonable. I flat out love this one, okay? Set a limit and get somebody else to hold it. This is an awesome technique. He says, "At what price must I offer you this fine car to secure your business today?" That's a classic salesman ploy right there. You should never go first on the price, right? Because the price always goes up from there. What you say is something like, "Not here to play games. What's the best price?" And he's backed into a corner. He says $34,990. At this point, okay, you've got to know what the car is actually worth. It's called research. Do that. So in this situation, I'd be rounding it conveniently down. So you say, "My mother, wife, husband, father, whoever, will cut off my nuts, tits, right arm, trust fund," whatever, "if I go a cent over $30,000. That's my limit. It's all I am able to spend on this fine car today." And this is important, okay? This person, this third party who holds your limit, allegedly, they have to be both physically absent and also uncontactable so that the salesperson cannot now go to work on them. A particularly evil ploy, right? Because suddenly both of you want the same thing, you and the sales guy. You want the car, he wants to sell you the car, and the only impediment is the unavailable bastard who is strangling the budget and holding the purse strings so tightly. And hey, if they come back to you tomorrow and they suggest 32 grand, you can always come up and suggest 31 or something right now, and you'll do it right now if they go for 31 and dice with amputation on the domestic front. When I suggest doing this, okay, I always have to laugh because there's always several outraged dealership assholes in the comments, seemingly mightily offended that I am advising people to lie, heaven forbid, which I find hilarious, given the flow of bullshit in the other direction in these places. Honesty is simply not the best policy in many situations in life, including this one. It is not the sharpest sword for this skirmish. You don't fight fire with tissue paper, and this is much the same as fighting bullshit with honesty. It's ineffective. If they decline your offer, just walk away. I mean, you've made this offer and it is firm, right? You are definitely not saying, "Oh, please, sir, can you find a place in your heart to look after me? I'm a good guy with a family and a solid moral compass, and I'll even try not to have impure thoughts in my upcoming negotiation with the Ming Mole." You can have all the friggin' impure thoughts you want. I mean, nobody's listening. Look, what you're saying here is, this car, here's my offer. I'm serious, and it's time for you to go off and consider it. I'm not saying offer 20 grand on a 50 grand car either. That's ridiculous commercially. Make a fair but lowball offer. And if they say no, don't listen to any other BS, just take a look at the clock on the wall. Anything said after no is disinformation, guaranteed. Let's be kind. Just thank the dude for his time and walk out. This is the most powerful weapon you can deploy in this situation. Do not cave in. You just say, "Well, I'm sorry about that. I really am. Thank you very much for your time. Here's my number. I'll keep shopping. Please feel free to call me if you reconsider and change your position on the price. If I haven't bought another new car, I'm still interested." This is not even immoral or unethical. It's not even friggin' impolite. You are just advocating for your own financial best interests in a commercial transaction. And last time I looked, that is your principal objective on this mission. You say that, He's standing on your X and you have suddenly gone weapons hot. Yes, it's a very uncomfortable position for them commercially, which is flat out great for you. And here's what might happen, okay? You might be absolutely amazed at how malleable the price becomes as the clock ticks and the end of the month draws even closer. You do this at 4 dealerships on the one day, make it like the 29th of the month or something, and one of them will cave in for sure. Especially how bleak the market is right now, okay? There's a lot of pressure out there. You might want to review these points again just before going into the dealership to do the deal, because it's a lot to take in. And I know it's been a long report, a bit of an endurance event, but thank you for making it this far. Just stick to the plan when you go in. Slip the ceramic plates into the vest. Front and rear, that's very important, particularly the rear, because I note they do love coming in from the rear in those places. Be in charge of the process and definitely do not go with the flow in these places, because that is the recipe for eternal damnation. And if you got all those tips, you now have every weapon you need to avoid being gutted like a good sheep. No standing on the X, right? Well, that equals not getting fleeced. See what I did there? Thanks very much for watching and good luck.